artists, each paying tribute to a master printmaker who inspired and influenced them in their work. And I'm here with Sandra Fernandez, one of the artists in the Consejo Gráfico and the executive director of the Consejo Gráfico. And she will be speaking with us today a little bit more about the portfolio. But also on exhibit is prints from the Mexicarte Museum's collection from some of the artists that are featured in this portfolio exchange. Sandra, she earned her Master of Fine Arts from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and her work has been dedicated to the advancement of Latinx artists across the United States. And I'm very pleased to present Sandra Fernandez.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sandra Fernandez, and I am the Executive Director of the Consejo Gráfico Nacional. First of all, I want to thank Sylvia and all her staff, Mexicarte, for setting up this exhibition of the La Huella portfolio. It's a beautiful, amazing layout, and I'm really excited that it's also going to be an instructional exhibit for all the Austinians and beyond. I would like to talk a little bit about Consejo Gráfico Nacional. I should say that El Padrino, founder of Consejo Gráfico Nacional, is Gilberto Cárdenas. He had this incredible vision of bringing different talleres together. He is a collector, and his love for prints came very early on, and he collected works from Latino artists from way back. And he used to be a professor here at the University of Texas in Austin. And when he moved to Notre Dame as a director of IUPLR, thank you. The Institute for Institute for Latino Studies. He brought this program to Notre Dame University, and he had the idea of bringing together the different talleres as a group, and through the auspices of a grant, I believe, for the institute. And this was a project for the AIDS research and further. And so he thought that this was a perfect opportunity to have the different talleres come together and know each other. So he brought a lot of people, and you're going to see in this exhibit many of the initial talleres that were part of it, to collaborate, to talk amongst each other. And the Consejo Gráfico Nacional was created after that. This was back in 2000, I believe, around 2000, and I was not part of the talleres just yet. So this went on for many years, and the different talleres grouped together and started exchanging ideas, talking about their objectives and their goals for the future. And nowadays we have 12 talleres that are members of the Consejo Gráfico Nacional. Let me talk specifically about the Huella Magistral portfolio. So the talleres have been working together for about 10 years now. We have had about 5 national meetings, and we have created 3 different portfolios. Initially, through the project that Gil Cardenas promoted, the AIDS project, we did posters. And then we moved into making original art as a portfolio for exchange. So we have created 3 portfolios total, and this is the 3rd one. We wanted to pay homage of the master printmakers that have influenced our work, specifically Latino master printmakers. And each taller decided to select an artist from within the taller, and the artist selected someone to pay homage to. So you're going to see, we're going to go through the exhibit a little bit later. We're going to see who picked what artists, and the artists that were picked had a specific medium that they worked on, So the artist, most of the artists decided to utilize that same medium that the master printmaker used to work with. As it was said before, this portfolio has 19 artists represented, and from the different talleres. But before I start talking about that, I would like to talk briefly about Sam Coronado. Sam Coronado was the founder of the Serie project, and he was very influential within the arts community. He brought over 300 artists to Austin, Texas to make silkscreen editions, and he promoted all their work. And a lot of the artists that he promoted when he just started about 20 years, well, now it's more than 20 years ago, have become very influential all over the United States and the world as artists. The Serie project was part of the Consejo Gráfico Nacional since the beginning. And this exhibition has not only La Huella portfolio, but also has a portfolio dedicated to Sam Coronado. As you all know, unfortunately, Sam Coronado passed away about almost 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And we wanted to make a tribute to his life. So let me show you the portfolio that came about for honoring Sam Coronado. When he passed away, our hearts stopped beating for a lot of us, and we wanted to help the Serie project continue to survive after his passing, and we wanted to contribute somehow monetarily for this to happen. And Sherizade Garcia, actually, she's an artist from New York who had worked with Sam Coronado, had this idea of bringing artists together to create prints for sale, donations for sale. So Sherizade called Dolores Garcia and myself to get this idea going. So of course, we got on board right away and we organized the portfolio. So we invited mostly artists for Consejo Gráfico Nacional to donate prints. Sam had worked with all of them, and of course, when you knew Sam, you immediately fell in love with him because he was such a soft nature and amazing human being. So all the artists that came through the Serie immediately connected with him, and they became lifelong friends. So of course, upon his passing, everybody wanted to support his work. So this portfolio is called The Heart, and we decided to name it The Heart not only because of Sam's big heart, but also in his imagery, he used the heart a lot. He had a few surgeries, and his heart was very fragile, which at the end was what took him away. So we wanted to use that title for the portfolio. So each one of these prints is a connection between the artist and Sam Coronado. Only 3 artists were not part of Consejo Gráfico Nacional at that point, but all of the rest are. And many of the artists in this portfolio are also in the La Huella portfolio. Having said this, so again, the Serie project was a very instrumental component of Consejo Gráfico Nacional. And actually, before Sam passed away, the Serie project was going to become the umbrella organization for Consejo Gráfico Nacional. We have been many years trying to become a nonprofit, and we were getting there. And how life is, we were having a Consejo Gráfico Nacional the weekend that Sam passed away. So La Serie project continues to be part of Consejo Gráfico Nacional. Jill Ramirez is now in charge of the Serie project, and we are continuing to work together. Let me talk now about La Huella portfolio, but if you have any questions so far, I would love to hear them.
Can you actually explain what a master printmaker is?
Of course. Every print shop has a master printmaker, not every, usually. And a master printmaker is the person that dedicates itself to, well, there are different, let me track back, there are different instances of master printmaker. Usually shops print for other artists, and when they print for other artists, the artist comes to your shop, and the artist designs everything, but the actual printing of an edition is done by a master printmaker. And so every shop that is doing commercial work, or not necessarily commercial work, would have a master printmaker. A master printmaker is someone that is very knowledgeable about different techniques, depending on what technique the shop, the workshop, the studio or shop specializes in. The master printmaker would be the most knowledgeable person of that medium. Usually, master printmakers are knowledgeable of many techniques, not just the technique that the specific shop has. Did I answer your question? Yes. So, a master printmaker also wouldn't necessarily only be printing for others. A master printmaker is also a denomination given to an artist, printmaker that is very knowledgeable about its craft. Any other questions? Yes.
So what is a portfolio and why would y'all make a portfolio?
When you talk about a portfolio, what it means is that many artists get together and they contribute with one print to a collective. Usually editions are, sometimes they are the number of editions that you produce, and let me backtrack. An edition, for those of you who are not too familiar with printmaking, an edition, so printmaking is making multiples coming out of an original. So an edition means that you are producing certain number of prints that are identical. So as a collector, if you're purchasing a print, let's say an edition of 20, you're purchasing edition number 7, that number 7 is identical to 1 to 20. So you are actually owning an original. So going back to the portfolio, the editions are determined, the size of the editions are determined on many factors. How many artists are participating, how many prints you want to have extra, etc., etc. For example, in let's talk about the Huella portfolio. The Huella portfolio was 19 artists, but we made an edition of 30 prints, 30 originals. And the reasoning behind that is we gave each artist one portfolio. So each artist that participates in an edition usually gets a portfolio, a complete portfolio, meaning one print of every artist that participates. This is not always true for, sometimes you're invited to museum or collectors' portfolios where you donate your work, but you don't receive the prints. This is what happened with, for example, with the Consejo portfolio. We wanted all the profits to go to a Serie project, so each individual artist did not get a print of the other artists. So we completely donated the work. And a portfolio is actually a way for the artist to connecting and collecting work from other fellow artists. Do you have another question about the portfolios? Did I?
And physically, what it comes together in a...
Yes. Well, the portfolio is a word that actually encompasses multiple prints. Not usually, but a lot of times it's encased within a box or a container or some sort of envelope, so you can have all the prints together. The more fancier portfolios are are made with, are put inside of a box. And this box usually has the title and a lot of information, and they're really beautiful boxes. Like the one for La Huella portfolio, it's, we actually had an artist from Mexico do the portfolios for us. And when you are dealing with prints, of course, you have a lot of separate images, and it's really nice to have them in one same container place. So, yeah,
And Sandra, it's usually theme-based as well, right, the portfolio?
Yes, you're right. It's usually a theme, not necessarily. Sometimes the theme is just, but it does have a title, yes. Sometimes the theme would be the most recent work of certain artists. So it doesn't have to be specifically, for example, the heart or master printmakers. It varies. But yeah, but there has to be a connection within the artwork in the portfolio. I would like to talk a little bit about the individual prints of the Huella Magistral portfolio, and I should say that this portfolio is very important historically. It's the first time that Latino artists are paying homage to people of their own descent. In terms of printmaking and exalting this amazing production that has been out there for hundreds and centuries, hundreds of years. It's by any means a complete history of master printmakers of Latino origin. It's just a little compilation due to the number of artists that were in the portfolio. So let's talk about this, and I love the way that Meticarte put together the show, because they not only so the big framed images are the prints in the portfolio, and then what they did is they pulled artists in the portfolio, and I think that this is really wonderful because it is very educational. I think that we do need to educate our community about Latino art. So let's start here. We have Paul del Bosque. This is an artist from San Antonio, and he represented La Serie project. Jill asked Paul to make a print for the portfolio. And so another way that the Consejo Nacional works is, and that's the beauty of it, each taller has its own set of artists. And each taller can invite different artists to make prints and to produce work at their workshops. So it's really a really big opportunity for a lot of people to work with Consejo Gráfico Nacional and through the talleres. So Paul del Bosque is not part of Consejo Gráfico Nacional, but Jill is. So your project is. So she invited him. So he's giving Paul an opportunity to exhibit his work, at a greater level. So Paul paid homage to Leopoldo Mendez, and now another thing I should mention: every single print has a different technique and process. Some might be similar, but Paul del Bosque is an illustrator, so you see his work here as an illustrator. It's a silkscreen though. And Paul is not a silkscreen artist, so he actually asked a printer, a master printmaker from Mexico, to print his work. So as you can see, there are many levels of involvement and opportunities for artists to be part of this portfolio or of portfolios. As I said, is paying homage to Belkis Ayon, who was a Cuban artist and printmaker. Francisco Siqueiros is a printmaker in Los Angeles, and he is the owner of El Nopal Press. Francesco has actually a commercial printmaking shop in Los Angeles, and he produces, he prints for major artists in LA. Here we have Marianne Sadolski. She is also in Los Angeles, and her taller is, well, Actually, a little history about Consejo Gráfico Talleres. It has continued to develop. At the beginning, certain artists were part of it. Some artists have left, some talleres have left, and more keep coming. Right now, unfortunately, we have stopped receiving new artists for a little while until we get the status for the nonprofit and all of these things. Yes, you have a question?
How do you get involved? How do you get in?
At this point, you have to get involved through the existing talleres. So you can look up the talleres in your area and approach them, and that's how you get into the Consejo Gráfico. Hopefully, in a few years, we will get the nonprofit and we will continue to grow. It's a little bit difficult to expand at this point with little resources and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I was talking about the little bit of the history of the talleres. So when this print was made, Marianne was part of a taller called Los de Abajo Printmaking Collective. Los de Abajo Printmaking Collective in Los Angeles. And now it has changed the name and it has been reorganized a little bit. Well, actually, we are in the midst of producing a book with Consejo Gráfico Nacional, which we're really excited about, and we'll have all this history and all the different changes, and be on the lookout for it. So this is Marianne Sadowski, and she is paying homage to Mauricio Lasansky. She chose to do etching, so this is a combination of an etching and a wood and a relief print. This work here belongs to the artist Poli Marichal. It is in the front of the invitation. Poli Marichal was also part of Los de Abajo Printmaking Collective. Now she has separated from the group and now she's operating as her own individual studio. So now it's Marichal's studio. Poli is an incredible artist, just like all the rest. And she's been working with relief printmaking for quite a while. And she's paying homage to Elizabeth Catlett from Coronado Print Studio. And Pepe, it's a great story about Pepe. Pepe used to be the master printmaker for Sam Coronado here in Austin. He started with Sam, and actually Sam taught him everything that he knows. And he worked for many, many years with him. And now he moved to New York, and he has his own studio, which is Coronado Print Studio. And he's doing fantastic there, and he has grown so much, and he's working with the Dominican community at large in Puerto Rico. So he is paying homage to Elizabeth Catlett too. You might notice that we have some repetition of master printmakers that we paid homage to. So these two artists. So when we put out the call for the portfolio, we said, let me know who are you doing, so we don't repeat it that much, because we didn't want to have too many of the same. So I guess this is the only one that's repeated. And I said, okay, let's do it, because she deserves to pay homage twice. Moving along, we have, okay, so I was telling you before that each taller would invite artists to be part of it. For this portfolio, we said every taller can have up to 2 artists invited. So each taller could invite. So Pepe, Coronado Print Studio invited Luanda Lozano to make a print representing his studio. And this is an homage to Robert Blackburn, who is a prominent figure in New York City and beyond. And that is a silk screen and chincolet. No, not seriously, etching and chincolet, I'm sorry. Moving along, we have René Arceo Press. And René Arceo Press is in Chicago. He was actually one of the original members of the Consejo Gráfico Nacional. He does a fabulous work. His specialty is producing portfolios. And so he invites artists from all over of Latino descent, and actually he incorporates people that are not exclusively from Latino descent. And he creates themes. Talking about before we were talking about portfolios. He always creates themes. Like his last theme was the water. So he invites certain artists and he says, okay, this is the title, the water, and you interpret it however you want. And the beauty of the work that he does is that he not only brings together artists from all over, but he exhibits these portfolios. So he travels to Mexico, to Europe, to all of these places, and he exhibits the work. And as you know, as an artist, it's not that easy to exhibit. It is not that easy to find venues for your work. So if you're so lucky to be part of one of the portfolios, you're set for life because he would take the portfolios everywhere. So this is a person to contact if you're interested in getting involved in this way. So René Arceo pay homage to Goya. So this is a relief print, linoleum, and that's his depiction of it. So René Arceo invited Ricardo Javier Sermage for the portfolio, for his show. So this is the rendering of Elena Huerta by Ricardo Javier Sermage, another relief linoleum print. So you can see you can start noticing how the connection between the artist who is representing the master printmaker in some sort of relationship, whether it's aesthetically or technically. You can see the work that Elena Huerta did. She did woodcuts. So that's a kind of correlation. We have here Taller Boricua. So Taller Boricua was also another of the initial talleres of Consejo Gráfico Nacional. And Taller Boricua is located in New York City. It's an homage to Lorenzo Omar. It's a woodcut. Now, Taller Boricua, actually we have 4 works from Taller Boricua this year. Because Taller Boricua has a branch now, the Rafael Tufino printmaking workshop. So we were in between allowing the taller to be part of Consejo Gráfico Nacional. So we allowed them to have 4 instead of 2. So they are under Taller Boricua, but they are part of the Rafael Tufino workshop. We have Betty Perez Cole, one artist that works with the taller, and she is paying homage to Maria Emilia Somoza. And you have the pictures of the original of the artists next to the works in these little explanation pamphlets. We have another artist from Taller Boricua. This is Marcos. Oh, this is interesting. It doesn't say here. This is Eliezer Berrios. I'm sorry, I got confused. This is Eliezer Berrios, also from Taller Boricua, and he's paying homage to Rafael Tufino. Rafael Tufino was a master, an incredible artist and printmaker from Puerto Rico, which happens to be Lisa Tufino's father. So another artist from the taller is paying homage to Rafael Tufino. Boricua, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago too, and he was one of the original members also of the Consejo Gráfico. Moving along, we have Malaquías Montoya. I know that name is very familiar to a lot of people. Our master artist, Malaquías Montoya. He's paying homage to Rini Templeton, and he's really a master printmaker and artist in silkscreen. He has innovated so many techniques. He has done so many has developed so many new techniques to advance silkscreen. I would say this is more of a conservative way of working for him in silkscreen, but it's a beautiful work. This taller is part of the University of UC Davis, and he established this taller many years ago too. It's called TANA, and they do a lot of incredible programming there too. They invite also artists, and they print for other artists as well. And you might notice here not all of the pieces have lettering, but as you know, posters, the tradition of poster making incorporates text, and this is one of them. It's beautiful how he does that. Over here we have a work by Joe Segura. Joe Segura is an artist. This is an interesting, talking about his historical events. Joe Segura is, was the owner of Joe Segura Press, and it was one of the original presses for Consejo Nacional. Now this print was done under Rio Mar Studio, which is located in South Bend, Indiana, and Joe's press was really big in Arizona. It moved to South Bend, Indiana, and now he's working with Rio Mar Studio independently. And he is paying homage to Rufino Tamayo. So again, we have another two second artists paying homage to. And this is an homage to Luis Jimenez. As you know, Luis Jimenez was a big artist, and he also tragically passed away a few years back. And they have put here one of his lithographs, original lithographs, Luis Jimenez's. Richard Eduardo unfortunately passed away also. We have lost so many incredible artists in the last decade. Richard Eduardo, who made that print, passed away, but his brother continues, and actually his family continues with modern multiples in Los Angeles. Yes.
You gonna talk about yours?
Sure. That I wanted to portray, it was a no-brainer for me to highlight Sam. I don't think he has been given enough credit for all the work that he has done. And besides, he was actually a very important, influential person in my life. I moved to Austin in 2005, and I remember that he was the only person that opened the doors for me as a Latina artist. And he actually supported me and invited me to create a print as an artist in residence for the Serio project. And meeting Sam really changed my entire life. I'm a Latina artist. I migrated from Ecuador many years ago. And through all my life, I've been really working Midwest and within more of the Anglo community. But when I moved to Austin, Sam supported my interest for social practice, and for me it was wonderful to feel at home in Austin. You know, all Mexican people and Latino people. That sounds horrible, but I felt so at home. I grew up in Ecuador, and to me, being with people that spoke Spanish all the time, and little things like seeing the plants that I grew in Ecuador, being able to grow them up here was a major thing. But anyway, so Sam was a very important person in my life. So I wanted to make an image of him, and I wanted to highlight certain aspects of his life. Serio project, which, as I talked before, has been such an influential workshop for a lot of Latino artists. So this print, it's a silkscreen, and I actually got interested in silkscreen after coming to work in the Serio project. What I did is, if you see in the background, there are some names. So I took all the names of all the artists that have gone through the Serio project, and I printed them in the background. Of course, Austin, where he lived, and I have some images here of his own work. Sam used the bull a lot in his work, and I actually have La Guerrillera here, which this was one of my favorite prints of his, and I remember I wanted that print, and before he passed, we were talking about doing something with it. So it's anyways. And then I have this quote here in Spanish, which says, hay hombres que luchan un día y son buenos. Hay otros que luchan un año y son mejores. Hay quienes luchan muchos años y son muy buenos. Pero hay los que luchan toda la vida. Esos son los indispensables. And this is a quote from Bertolt Brecht. And for those of you who do not know Spanish, this just means that there are people, well, let me translate it, let's see if I can translate it. There are people that fight one day and they are good. There are others that fight for a year and they are better. But there are those who fight many years and they are much better. But there are those who fight their entire lives, and those are the, how do you say imprescindibles? How do you say what? And those are the indispensable. So to me, that symbolizes what Sam was. And so that's my homage to Sam. My main interest with my taller is to work with the Hispanic community, Latino community in New Jersey. And unfortunately, because of the latest politics that we know about, it's become harder to work with Latinos because in open spaces because of all the fear and all these things. So I've been working with through libraries. So I go to libraries and I bring them my printmaking taller, and I teach classes, and I teach Latino Hispanics in Spanish printmaking. So my hope is to develop this and grow and get bigger and really reach out to that community that is very visible but is hiding. Any other questions? So we are actually talking about a new portfolio for next year. We don't know yet. We have a lot of topics, but we don't know. We definitely don't know yet what it's going to be about. But our interest is to highlight highlight the work of Latinos historically and currently. Yes.
How do you choose who's going to be in the portfolio?
That's up to each taller. So usually the director of each taller decides that. They either do it themselves, the director is the one who does the print, or they invite people.
Is it always going to be 30 or is it going to be different?
Is it going to be what?
Always 30 or is it going to be different?
Oh, it changes, it varies. Not always everybody is willing or able to participate, so it varies.
Do you ever have like somebody in the painting that does like a group? Like say for instance like 2 artists in one picture? Like,
We haven't done that, but that would be a beautiful collaboration. Yeah. We should talk, because I see that you're very interested. Maybe we can figure something out about participation or...
She paints and draws a lot, so I just...
Yeah, okay. Oh, and is she basically...
She's in high school. She's going to graduate this year.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we should talk more specifically. Yeah. Before I say my last words, I really want to thank Gilberto Cárdenas, who's present here today. If it weren't for him, he has been so instrumental in the advancement of so many of us, not only as a collector, but as a supporter of our work. His vision for our advancement is incommensurable. If it would have been for him thinking about bringing us together, Consejo Gráfico Nacional would not exist. And so, thank you, Gil, and may you live forever.